The movie kicks off with scenes from the life of a dog named Dinero. It's clear that his owner, Blue, treats him badly and forces him into underground dogfights. Then the story shifts to a car with a gang of 4 guys inside. They're on the run from the cops, but they end up crashing. The driver dies in the accident, leaving only 3 of them: Ochre, Stacy, and Jig. As soon as they get out of the car, they find themselves standing in front of some abandoned place. Jig suggests they should just split the money and go their separate ways. But Ochre tells him the cops are everywhere. So they decide to hide inside the abandoned building until they figure out a way to escape. Once inside, they realize the place is huge and there are a lot of holes in the ground. Any one of them could fall in if they're not careful. After that, Stacy calls a guy to come pick them up with his car. But the guy tells him their faces are all over the news now and the cops are swarming the whole area. He says they better stay put till the next day so he can figure something out and come get them. The catch is, he wants 50% of the money they stole in exchange for helping them escape. When Ochre finds out, he blames Jig, since he's the reason the whole heist went wrong. Turns out, they were robbing a pharmacy, but Jig ditched them to look for pills because he's an addict. Thanks to that, the cops found their spot and started chasing them. While Ochre's talking to Jig, he notices something's off with him and tells Stacy that Jig looks sick, but Stacy explains it's just withdrawal symptoms because Jig hasn't used in a while. Jig backs him up, saying he needs a fix. Even though Ochre and Stacy don't like the idea, they realize they don't have much of a choice. If Jig's condition gets worse, he'll just slow them down and ruin their chances of getting away. Ochre hands Jig the bag with the cash and the drugs. Jig takes it and goes off looking for some water so he can shoot up. He heads into a changing room but finds out the water's cut off everywhere. He starts checking the lockers hoping to find something and instead stumbles across a bunch of meds and steroids. Out of nowhere, he hears a noise nearby. He follows the sound and freezes when he sees Dinero standing there next to a dead body. Turns out, the corpse is Dinero's trainer, and that's when Jig realizes the dog's the one who killed him. Shocked, Jig just stands there, completely stunned. Right then, Ochre and Stacy show up. They see the dog and the body on the floor, and without thinking, they bolt. While running, Jig drops the bag, and Dinero chases after them. They manage to slam a door shut right before he gets to them, trapping the dog inside. From the other side, they can hear him slamming against the door trying to break out, but luckily, he doesn't. Stacy's in shock, can't wrap his head around what's happening. Ochre tells them this kind of dog is bred for fight rings. The dog has to kill the other dog to win. Meaning it's brutal, and it could take any of them out in seconds, especially since they've got no weapons to defend themselves. Stacy suggests they bolt now and come back later for the bag, but Ochre says that won't work. Cops are everywhere and looking for them. He thinks their only option is to wait inside until the car comes to pick them up. Jig interrupts. He's dead set on going for the bag and getting his fix. Stacy loses it and tries to stop him, warning that if Jig goes out, the dog might kill him. But Jig's stubborn and pushes to leave anyway, so Stacy hits him and knocks him out to stop him from going. Ochre and Stacy sit down together, talking about animals. Ochre starts telling a story from back when he was younger. He once tried stealing money to buy his daughter a birthday present, but the job went wrong. So instead, he decided to steal some fish from a pet shop as a gift. But all the little fish died, and only one single fish survived. When he's done, Stacy jumps in and says he's got a memory with dogs too. He explains that he once wanted to steal a super rare plant that drug dealers use. After some digging, he found out there was this old guy who trained dogs to sniff out that exact plant. So Stacy bought one of those dogs to help him with the heist. The plan worked, and with the dog's help, he managed to pull it off. Ever since then, Stacy's had a soft spot for dogs. After Stacy finishes his story, they realize Jig's gone. Worried, they start searching the place until they notice he slipped out through a hole in the wall. That's when they figure out Jig ran off to get the bag with the cash and the drugs. Cut to Jig, he's moving super carefully, trying not to make a sound so the dog won't hear him. He reaches the bag, doesn't see the dog anywhere, grabs it, and rushes down the stairs. Once he finds a safe spot, he takes a hit of the drugs and passes out. Meanwhile, Ochre and Stacy spot a police car pulling up outside through the window. A cop steps out with a canine and heads into the building to search. De Niro sees them, but instead of attacking the cop or the dog, he just vanishes from sight. The cop keeps checking around but doesn't find any of the gang, then takes the dog and leaves. Right after, Ochre and Stacy hear Jig banging on the door, asking them to let him in. They start moving the stuff they stacked against it. While they're doing that, Jig tells them the dog's gone, he managed to grab the bag no problem, and even found a car downstairs they could use to get away. He adds that the guy De Niro killed had the car keys on him. Stacy opens the door, but immediately snaps at Jig for screwing things up. Out of nowhere, De Niro attacks. He slams Jig to the ground and sinks his teeth into his arm. Then, the dog spots Ochre and charges at him. Ochre tries to run but falls hard, getting badly hurt. Stacy jumps in quick to distract De Niro and pull him away from Ochre. It works. The dog lets go and goes after Stacy instead. Stacy runs, giving Ochre just enough time to escape and slam the door shut behind him. Stacy then bolts for the hole in the wall, squeezing through and leaving De Niro trapped inside the room. Stacy runs over to check on Jig, but then he spots De Niro crawling out through the hole in the wall, charging straight at them. Ochre and Stacy hurry up, dragging Jig as fast as they can until they reach another room and slam the door shut. Stacy ties up Jig's arm to stop the bleeding. Jig thanks him and apologizes for all the screw-ups he caused. Suddenly, Ochre calls them over. He's found something written on the wall. From the words scratched there, they learn the dog's name is De Niro and that he was part of an underground fighting tournament. He'd beaten tons of dogs and proved himself a real beast, strong enough to fight his way all the way to the finals. What's crazy is, in the final match, he actually went up against 2 dogs at once. Right then, Ochre asks Jig if he's more of a dog person or a cat person. Jig says he's always been into dogs more, then starts telling them a story from his childhood. We cut back to the past. Jig once found an injured dog on the street and brought him home to take care of him, but his dad refused to let the dog stay inside the house. So Jig decided to hide the dog in the barn without his dad knowing. Since Jig didn't have money to buy food for him, he gave up his school lunch every day just to feed the dog. When summer break came, he started stealing food from shops. But one day, a store owner caught him. After that, Jig had no choice but to sneak food from his own house behind his dad's back. One day, when Jig went to see the dog, he was shocked to find his dad waiting for him there. Back in the present, Jig breaks down crying, telling Ochre and Stacy that his dad got rid of the dog and never let him see it again. Overcome with grief, Jig walks away, sits alone in a corner, and keeps on crying. Right then, Whacker and Stacy accidentally find a secret room inside the building. They go in and find stacks of cash. It's clearly the betting money. They decide to grab it and get out before the owner shows up. Stacy tells Whacker to shove the cash in the bag while he goes to check on Jig. But Stacy's hit with a shock. He finds Jig lying dead. He overdosed. Stacy breaks down, tears streaming, cursing Jig for being stupid enough to waste his life like that. All Stacy can think about is his girl, Grace, who begged him to get out of that life because she was terrified he'd end up dead. He promises himself and her that this will be the last job. After this, he's going back to her and they'll try to have a normal life together. Stacy snaps out of his memories when Whacker's voice cuts in, rushing him to move. Stacy throws his jacket over Jig's body, then follows after Whacker, only to realize Whacker's been hit bad in the stomach. Whacker tells him to take the cash and get out on his own, but Stacy refuses. He pulls out his phone to call an ambulance, but Whacker smacks it out of his hand. Stacy tells him flat out he's not leaving without him. Then it hits him. Jig mentioned a car downstairs. Stacy tells Whacker he's going to grab the keys off the trainer's body and come back so they can get out together. Whacker warns him the dog could show up any second, but Stacy's dead set. He says it's the only shot they've got. So he leaves Whacker, grabs a metal rod for protection, and starts creeping toward where the trainer's body is, scanning around every step, bracing himself for De Niro to appear any moment. When Stacy gets to where he saw the trainer's body, it's gone. All that's left are bloodstains on the floor. He follows the trail and finds the body shoved inside a small room. He quickly grabs the car keys, But then something makes his stomach drop. There are piles of dead dogs all around, and they're all the same breed as De Niro. The sight hits him so hard his eyes well up. Out of nowhere, De Niro steps out from between the corpses. Stacy bolts, slamming the door shut before the dog can lunge at him. He scrambles to find somewhere to hide, but De Niro keeps smashing against the door until it bursts open. The second he's out, he charges after Stacy. Stacy runs for his life, sprinting as fast as he can until he spots a massive drainage pipe ahead. He dives inside, crawls through, and pops out the other side, only to find himself in front of a bunch of old buses. Without thinking, he rushes into one of them to hide. Stacy checks the bus mirror and spots De Niro walking past. He lets out a breath, thinking the dog's gone. But then his heart drops. De Niro's right behind him, charging straight at him. Stacy scrambles out the window and climbs onto the roof of the bus, with De Niro hot on his tail. He starts leaping from one bus to another until he finally escapes into an old warehouse that feels like a maze. He keeps running, De Niro chasing close behind, until he suddenly hits a dead end. No way out. The only thing in front of him is a broken-down piano, so he squeezes himself inside to hide. De Niro storms in, sniffing around, not finding him at first. Just as he's about to move on, a drop of sweat falls from Stacy, giving him away. The dog slams into the piano over and over until it breaks apart, sending Stacy crashing to the ground unconscious. When he comes to, he realizes the piano toppled over onto De Niro, trapping him under the wreckage. Stacy sees his chance to run, but then he hears the dog whining in pain. It gets to him. He turns back, pulls the debris off De Niro, and frees him. De Niro just stands there, staring at him. Then, instead of attacking, he simply walks away. Stacy heads back to Walker and tells him everything, assuring him that De Niro won't be coming after them anymore. He helps Walker along until they finally reach the garage. But the second Stacy opens the door, another car pulls up in front of them. Out steps Blue. The moment he spots the bag of money, he opens fire and kills Walker on the spot. Stacy's crushed by his friend's death, but there's no time to grieve. Blue's coming at him with a shotgun. Stacy bolts back inside, only to find himself stuck in front of a big locked door. Blue storms in right after, blasting shots his way. Stacy scrambles up the staircase to dodge the bullets, but Blue keeps firing. With no other choice, Stacy leaps off the top of the stairs, crashing down onto an old car. He drags himself out, battered but alive, and starts looking desperately for somewhere to hide. Blue walks in, standing in front of 3 boats, thinking Stacy's hiding under one of them. He moves closer and starts telling Stacy his life story, like he wants Stacy to hear it before he finishes him. Blue says his mom used to have this beautiful flower garden out front, but the neighbor had a dog of the same breed as De Niro. The dog kept getting into the garden and wrecking the flowers, and his mom would cry for hours. Every time she replanted the flowers, the dog would come back and destroy them again. So Blue went to the dog's owner to ask him to keep the dog away, but the guy was a nasty piece of work. He mocked Blue and even let the dog loose to ruin the garden after Blue's mom fixed it. That's when Blue snapped. He killed the man and the dog. After that, he started training dogs of that same breed to fight in betting rings, and he made a ton of money from it. While he's telling the story, Blue fires shots at the goats, trying to hit Stacy and get his hands on the bag of cash. Stacy was really hiding under one of the boats, but before Blue could reach him, he managed to slip away and run up the stairs. Blue spotted him and fired, hitting him in the shoulder. Still, Stacy kept running until he reached the top floor, only to find a huge drop with a pool of water below. Blue dropped his rifle, out of ammo, and pulled out his pistol. He stood in front of Stacy, who had nowhere left to run. Blue fired a shot, but it hit the bag of money instead of Stacy. The force knocked Stacy over the edge, and he plunged straight into the water. Blue kept shooting down at him, trying to finish the job, but luckily none of the bullets hit. Underwater, Stacy noticed a small opening. He let go of the money bag and swam through it, surfacing on the other side, only to find himself inside a dogfighting arena. Out of nowhere, Blue showed up and shot Stacy, knocking him to the ground. Blue started walking toward him, ready to finish the job, when suddenly De Niro appeared and stood in front of them. Blue froze, shocked, because De Niro was supposed to be dead. Then the story flashes back to the past. Blue was driving down the street when he spotted De Niro as a tiny pup, wandering around looking for food. Blue decided to take him in and raise him. When De Niro grew bigger, Blue handed him over to a trainer to prepare him for dogfights. Once the training was done, Blue brought him to the dogfighting arena. There, he asked the arena owner to put De Niro against the biggest, toughest dog they had. The owner refused at first, saying De Niro was too small and would be killed in seconds. But Blue insisted, claiming he was an expert dog breeder and had personally trained De Niro to fight. With enough pressure, the owner finally gave in and agreed to. And yeah, De Niro went up against that bigger dog. And the crazy part? He actually beat him. Blue was over the moon, and right then, he decided De Niro was going to compete in the betting tournaments. De Niro started racking up wins, fight after fight, until he finally made it to the championship match. In the finals, though, things were different. He had to face off against two of the toughest dogs out there. This time, De Niro just couldn't take him down. He got torn up bad, bleeding all over. Even though the fight ended in a draw, Blue wasn't happy at all. He told the trainer to put De Niro down. That's when we realized that's what Blue does with every dog that fails him. So the trainer followed orders. He dragged De Niro into the electric room, poured water all over his body, and hooked him up to live wires to fry him. But before he could finish, De Niro snapped and bit the trainer hard on the hand. The guy stumbled out of the room, clutching his wound, looking for something to clean it with. The trainer thought De Niro was dead from the electrocution, but then he heard that growl coming from inside the room. Next thing, De Niro burst out and tore him apart. That's when we realize the body De Niro was standing over at the start was the trainer's, his cruel master, the one who tortured him and turned him into a monster. Blue knew De Niro wanted revenge, so he tried to shoot him down, but De Niro charged, sinking his teeth into him. Blue fought back, firing his gun, but De Niro wouldn't let go until Blue was finished. After that, De Niro collapsed next to Stacy. Stacy crawled over, tears running down his face, and gently stroked him as he died. The loss hit him hard. Time passes, and in the final scene, we see Grace standing by the shore, watching Stacy walking slowly along the beach. By his side trots a little puppy from the same bloodline as De Niro. And that's where If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel.